Hello, everyone, and welcome to Heart and Soul Connected. My name is Allie, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about ancient wisdom and how it can revolutionize your life. There's so many things that have already been found out and learned and discussed over the millennia, and quite often we can go back to that information and we can get some really good information from it that is not necessarily new wisdom, but just old wisdom, sort of repackaged in some ways. One of the people that I have read several books by is Ryan Holiday, and he has written several books on stoicism. He found a book one day, started to read it, and that's what delved him, so to speak, into the idea of stoicism. And he's been very cogent and uplifting when he talks about how the Stoics used to view life or still do view life, because there are modern day Stoics. There's modern day everything, actually. We just have to know which road to go down in order, or which book bin to go to in order to find that modern day or that repackaged knowledge. I think that we can be really, really amazed at the things that we don't know. And I'm very humbled by that, because that just means we need to continue to pursue wisdom and understanding throughout our lifetimes, no matter how much education we've had or how old we are, doesn't matter. There's still so much to learn. And when you finally do leave this plane and you go somewhere else, you won't have had everything learned. But that's okay too, because at least you worked on it while you were on the planet. And it carries with you in many, many ways. So in today's fast-paced world, it makes it really hard for us just to sit down and read books. I recognize that. But with so many of us driving to and from work during the days, and or taking a phone with us to listen to podcasts, to listen to books on tape, that kind of, not tape, but audible. There's really no excuse not to be able to learn this stuff, even if you're not a book reader. Let's put it that way. I am a definite book reader, but during the pandemic, I think I read something like, or listened to 70 books over 2 years, really. But, just going out for my walk, what it did for me was it didn't make me even think about what I was doing when I was walking. And it ended up that I was going about 7 miles a day and coming back feeling like I learned something and I did something good for myself. But unfortunately, my feet did not agree with me. And at that point, I had to stop doing the walking because it was too hard on my feet. But getting out of that, let's go back to the wisdom that can revolutionize your life. We've lost sight of the wisdom that our ancestors knew and lived, and there is a lot there that we can parse and figure out how it can work for us in this particular lifetime. Ancient wisdom has been around, obviously, for centuries, and by tapping into this knowledge, we can also help ourselves in our personal and professional lives, and our spiritual lives as well. We're bombarded by stress, anxiety, and the pressure to perform. Many of us feel disconnected from nature, from our communities, and even from ourselves. I know there are days that I think to myself, where did this whole day go? Where did it go? And, what did I get done? And what did I learn? So the disconnection leads to feelings of emptiness or purposelessness. And we search for meaning in the wrong places, ending up more lost than when we started, and our lives become a never-ending cycle of stress and dissatisfaction. Couple that with the chaos of the current times, the uncertainty, the worry, and the unknown, as it were. Taking ourselves out of that and putting ourselves into something that is beneficial to us, that helps us to elevate ourselves, that helps us to be that much more knowledgeable about topics is something that's, it's just really something that can be done by anybody, honestly. Ancient cultures seem to know something that we might have forgotten. They understood the importance of living with harmony and with each other. Not always. I mean, there was war and strife and problems, but the ancient philosophers recognized that we also could do something about the way we looked at things. Take mindfulness, for example. This practice has been around for thousands of years, rooted in the Eastern traditions. And I happen to love the Eastern traditions. They are called the way. The Tao Te Ching is the way. They operate in flow, in mindfulness, and in seeking that which is within. Whereas our modern day, at least Western culture, looks at out there like we have to push, like we have to make something happen, like we have to consistently go, 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 go. So there's a lot to be said about the Eastern traditions, and this is why I embrace them probably more than a lot of other people do in this time. By being present in the moment, we let go of worries about our past, about what's going to happen, because those two are gone. We only got now. We got this little box, and it's called now. And it's a gift. And that's why they call it the present. And that's not me making that up. I can't take credit for that one. We search for meaning in all the wrong places, and we need to be present in the moment to let go of those worries. And stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and accept what we can't control. That's why stoicism is really something we could find useful for today's day and age. Native American wisdom reminds us that we are all interconnected, as do other cultural practices. And it's really wonderful to see that we may think of ourselves as cogs in a wheel. That seems like work. Why don't instead that we think about us as one wave on a vast ocean, and it becomes a little more peaceful, a little more rolling. Yes, I know there can be tempestuous waves as well. Those are the times we have to get through in order to reach the shore. One of the most powerful insights that I have read about in ancient wisdom is the concept of impermanence. Until we can accept death and not fear it, and realize that we too shall die, and we're the only animal that can realize that. Pets don't realize that. They have no concept of death. They have grief, but they don't know that they have a limited time span here on the planet. And it allows them to live just day to day. And that's why you see animals so relaxed, loving, kind, and compassionate for the most part. And you see them enjoy every single moment that they can. Everything in life is constantly changing. So that's another thing we have to remember. Change is constant. Things will change. And we have to accept that things will change. And if you can embrace that things will change, even those things that look like they're not a good change initially, then you can move forward a little bit more and realize that change is constant and this too shall change. Whatever it is you're dealing with, whether it be good or bad, will eventually change. And you'll have to look at something else. You'll have to live with something else until that changes. Instead of living in fear, you can look at it as a collection of lessons that you came here to learn, even though that is a very hard concept for many people to do. We live in the now, but as such, we worry for the future. We lament about the past. And when we do that, we take away the most beautiful thing there is, which is now. We can focus, if we focus in the now, on what truly, truly matters. Our relationships, our health, our personal growth, the beauty of the day, the joy of nature, our loving animals. you name it, the vibrancy of music, the quest for perfection in artistic endeavors, even though there is no such thing. We can reflect on all of these things, knowing that we are being mindful now. We have to bring ourselves back to that place, though. It isn't something we consistently live in. This is what makes it. It isn't something we were brought up to do in a lot of ways. If you were, more power to you, because you have been brought into a world where you have already learned how to do that. And I wish our children could learn to do that when they were much younger. It would be much, much easier for them to transition through these really tough times that we live in, all of us live in, and that they go through as younger children, as teenagers, and young adults. Because it sure is, it's like, I don't want to go back to that time. I don't want to go back to being 13, 21, 35. That's not my, that didn't work out so well for me. I'm happier where I am right now, and I'm right here. The only time I veer into the past is if I happen to look at beautiful pictures of the past, or I hear music from the past. And then I dwell in that for my period of time, realizing that I do live now. And as now, I can enjoy those things because they made meaning for me in the past. Imagine being able to approach life's challenges with a sense of curiosity and openness rather than fear and resistance. Our first reaction is to tense up. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Yikes. And in some cases, we have to respond that quickly because somebody is in need. There's something going on. A loved one is having a problem, or we have to meet the moment. And but by living in mindfulness in the other moments, we can meet that moment, knowing full well that we have the strength and the resilience to pull ourselves and others through. You will often note that many people say that they couldn't have done something. And yet there are many other people who say they lifted a car off somebody that was stuck under it, or that they were able to do CPR on somebody and revive them, or they were able to take a homeless animal and bring it to a shelter and have it cared for and adopted by a wonderful family. All of those things help us to build the resilience that we need in order to get through what it is that we need to get through. And one of the biggest problems that we had during the pandemic was that many people didn't live that way. And when they went through it, only saw the worst parts of it. Nobody wanted to accept the kindness of wearing a mask around somebody, or not seeing somebody because they were elderly and more infirm. Or the young people, they didn't know how to adapt to online learning, which I can understand, but that did give some of them an idea of how well they would do if they chose later on to take courses online. They would know right away they were a fit or a not a fit. Maybe they spent a lot of time reading. Maybe they perfected something. Those people had the resilience, the fortitude, and the foresight to move through a really troubling time by staying in the now present moment. We don't need pandemics to put us in that situation. We can do this every single day. And if that means you have to write affirmations, or you have to post something up on your bathroom mirror, or you have to work with guided meditation to keep you in the now, those things are all available to us, especially here on YouTube. You don't even have to pay for some of those things. They are all here. And you can always go to the internet and find any ancient writings, as they have all been archived online for anybody to read. So you don't even have to buy the books anymore. You can just read them off, or print them and read them offline. So discovering ancient wisdom may not lead you to stoicism. It may lead you to some other wonderful idea. But don't be thinking that just because it was old, that it's not important. All of those kernels are in those particular stories and articles and philosophicals. And Ryan Holiday just updated a lot of them if you're interested in learning more about them as well. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, evening, wherever you are.